December 8, 1997.
When terror strikes, it usually strikes at the most vulnerable point.
Nobody around the world today would attempt to defeat us on the battlefield.
So if the battlefield is tough, where are we weakest? Perhaps our communications exchanges, our power grids, our banking system, all run on computer networks.
What is secure? Not very much.
I think people are realizing that there's a dark side to the information highway.
Tonight, cyber terror, one consequence of a revolution in a box.
From ABC News, this is Nightline. Substituting for Ted Koppel and reporting from Washington, Forrest Sawyer.
As a point of pride in the growing U.S. economy, analysts often mention America's lead in high technology. It is estimated, for instance, that the U.S. harnesses nearly half the world's computing power. The government alone spends $40 billion a year on information technology. But the problem is, it's a double-edged sword. As we use computers more, we become more dependent and more susceptible to hackers who come armed with a lot of skills and a few bad ideas. Now, you've probably heard all the talk about invasion of privacy. You've likely read about teenagers able to hack into sophisticated computer systems. The truth is a lot more worrisome than that. Consider this. The Pentagon's own computers were penetrated more than 100,000 times last year alone. And before the Gulf War, someone even stole military secrets, including troop movements, and offered to sell them to Saddam Hussein, who apparently didn't believe they were real. And that says nothing about the vulnerability of our phone lines, our power lines, the millions of records stored in computers. A presidential committee has been exploring this problem and has reached some disturbing conclusions. Later on, a conversation with one of the people who chaired that committee. But first, a closer look at the risks we're facing with ABC's Gina Smith.
This is the way warfare looks now.
Go, go,
And this is the way some government officials fear it will look in the not-too-distant future. General Robert Marsh heads a presidential commission assigned to assess the nation's vulnerability to computer-equipped terrorists and enemy nations.
They could, in fact, shut down large sections of the electric power distribution system, interfere with the free flow of financial transactions from center to center, disrupt telephone service, deny 911 service, etc.
Critical infrastructures that provide services like water, power, and telecommunications are traditional targets for any country wanting to attack another. Now that those services rely heavily on computer technology, Marsh fears the nation is vulnerable to electronic attack in a way never before thought possible.
Nobody around the world today would attempt to defeat us on the battlefield. Instead, they will be seeking means to find vulnerabilities in our systems that they can exploit and do serious harm without having to confront us in the conventional armed way of the past.
How would such an attack take place? By what is commonly referred to as hacking.
Most computers around the world are connected to each other, forming a vast network. So, with the right skills, a person could use one computer to intrude electronically into many other computers. Once inside, they could alter or even destroy computer programs that operate systems, like, for example, telephone service.
911, you need police, fire, ambulance?
If all this sounds far-fetched, consider what happened in early 1996 when a computer hacker disrupted 911 emergency phone service for 11 North Florida counties.
Is there a neighbor that I can call to help?
John Schroeder is the 911 Operations Manager for Pasko County.
He would call the 911 operator, apparently having gotten onto our network through a computer program.
Engine 13.
It tied up our trunks, where we were no longer capable of disconnecting that caller and making that line available for a live call that may be seeking help.
The source of the computer attack was eventually traced to a 19-year-old hacker in Sweden.
We deal daily with life and death situations in this business. There's no two ways about it. Certainly heart attacks, drownings, and that person could very well go without help due to someone that's just trying to, basically, if you will, have a joke. It's not a joking matter.
Even President Clinton isn't immune to such computer crime. In April of this year, on a trip to Philadelphia, supposedly secure pager messages regarding the president's movements were intercepted by hackers. Just the sort of information that a would-be terrorist might find useful.
We've had all this experience with cell phones being not secure, with microwave telephone links being not secure, with pagers now not being secure, and certainly with the internet not being secure. And I think there's a warning shot across the bow of all of us that suggests that all of this technology is very risky when it comes to assuming that this stuff is secure. It's simply not secure.
Jim Christie is a computer crime investigator for the Pentagon, whose computers are a favorite target of teenage hackers. But it isn't these so-called recreational attacks that worry government officials the most.
If a 12 or a 14-year-old kid can do this, that's an unstructured, unfunded attack. When you're dealing with a nation state or a terrorist group, you're talking about a funded, structured attack. They're probably going to be far more successful in breaking in and less detectable.
No such organized computer attack by an enemy nation has been known to have taken place yet. But a 1995 Defense Department report states that in the early 1990s, the KGB was developing computer viruses for use during times of war or crisis, and that Cuba was engaged in similar activity. It is a threat the Pentagon takes seriously.
What we're talking about here now is holding infrastructures or portions, major portions, at risk to massive disruption.
How to deal with such information warfare is now being taught at places like the U.S. Naval Academy. Here, midshipmen are learning how to react to a hypothetical attack on the U.S. power, transportation, and banking industries.
If the U.S. infrastructure is being attacked by either the government of China and or the members of the Russian mafia, I don't see why it matters if China gets upset.
One of the biggest differences between this kind of warfare and that which we've dealt with in the past is the uncertainty and the ambiguity about who the attacker is. And that's going to be a real challenge to just making decisions in a crisis, as well as to making decisions in advance of a crisis to get you better prepared for the crisis.
I've heard so much talk about the coming info war. I'll be more worried when somebody can actually show me a single case of a hacker doing something that malicious. So far they haven't.
To those who've been part of the hacker community, the notion of a terrorist attack by computer is nothing less than fantasy, merely a classroom exercise. Kevin Poulsen is a former hacker. His specialty was tampering with the telephone network and eavesdropping on government wiretaps. Accused of espionage by the FBI, he earned a spot on TV's Unsolved Mysteries.
If you have any information regarding Kevin Poulsen, please contact the FBI.
The most heinous, coordinated, planned-out, conspiratorial hacker attack imaginable wouldn't come close to a single bombing of a building. Nobody's ever going to die from anything that happens electronically. The government has held me up as an example of a hacker that had reached the very top. If I wasn't anywhere near having that kind of capability, then what reason is there to think that anybody is?
The kinds of situations that we portray, you could say, haven't been seen yet on the scale that we are portraying them. What is happening now is an effort is being made to see if we can throw up some of the defenses that are going to be necessary to protect against all of the malevolent activity, whether from terrorists or nation states, that we might have to face in a information revolution sort of fostered world.
Cyber terrorism may be something we only have to worry about in the future, but right now, every day, hackers and computer criminals have businesses under attack. Part 2 of Gina Smith's report in a moment.
This is ABC News Nightline, brought to you by Ameritrade.
I rolled the dice for $8.
I unloaded my Tonka for $12.
We went to Club Med for $18.
Smart investors know it. You get seriously low commissions and really fast trades with Ameritrade. Internet trade for $8, touch-tone trade for $12, or trade with a broker just $18.
I just sold a ton of steel for $8.
And that's one low price per trade, no matter how many shares you trade. Just call 1-800-592-7274.
I sold the store for $12.
Plus, your first 5 trades are commission-free when you open an account with Ameritrade. Call 1-800-592-7274 or visit our website.
Traded my Fiat for BMW. Unloaded BMW for Mercedes. All before lunch.
Ameritrade. The way to trade. Period.
Tomorrow, talk about maximum security. Here's the military's toughest prison. No camera's been inside before. See it on ABC's World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Hi, I'm Troy Aikman, and this is my official NFL jacket I got from Just for Feet.
Get real.
I'm Marcus Allen with my Logo Athletic Kansas City Chiefs jacket.
Get real.
And I'm Dan Marino with my real authentic Pro Line jacket.
Get real. Get Logo Athletic at Just for Feet.
For all your favorite real team jackets, there's only one team to join.
Logo Athletic and Just for Feet. Be a part of our team.
Get real Logo Athletic team apparel this week at Just for Feet.
Just for Feet and Logo Athletic. A winning team.
If you see this, don't do this.
School closings in just a few
Do
minutes.
this. The News 2 Snowman Report. School closing information is featured on screen during programming, so there's never needless waiting around. For school closing information, turn to the Snowman Report, only on News 2. The News 2 Snowman Report is brought to you by Sofa Connection, Purity Dairies, and the Nashville Predators.
Vladimir Levin is not your typical bank robber, say police. He is the alleged mastermind behind a $10 million theft of Citibank in 1994. Working from his computer in Russia, he's accused of infiltrating the computers of Citibank's central wire transfer department, then moving money to bank accounts of accomplices. He was able to make 40 transactions before his accomplices were caught and identified him. It is the only known case of an online bank robbery. Ken Guidey is not your typical G-man. He heads the FBI office dedicated to so-called computer crime.
Cyberspace is here, and so it's really not a surprise, and we shouldn't fool ourselves that criminals of all types won't take advantage of this environment for their variety of motivations and needs.
Computer crime takes many forms. It can mean anything from breaking into a computer and viewing somebody's email to stealing trade secrets to blatant robbery schemes like Levin's.
Law enforcement officials say they don't know just how widespread computer crime is. It is believed that most computer intrusions go undetected, and of the break-ins that are detected, many companies are reluctant to report them out of fear of bad publicity. What is clear is that most intrusions are just teenagers breaking into computers for the fun of it. What is unclear is how many of these intrusions are planned criminal plots by insiders, competitors, or foreign interests.
FBI officials have said they believe at least 7 foreign nations are training computer hackers in corporate espionage to break into American computers.
Most of the corporations do not have the ability to stop hackers.
Al Zuretz is a private investigator and computer security consultant. He says he's been approached by hackers eager to sell the data they've stolen from corporate computers.
Corporations generally have security directors. Most of them are not even computer literate, nevertheless trained in information security. There's a great need to make the employees aware of the potential threat to the corporation by outsiders who are trying to get this information.
As I oversee the computer intrusion investigations that the FBI is involved with, quite frankly, a large percentage of them could be mitigated or avoided if people would practice the fundamental basic security procedures. Everything dealing with password selection, just good, sound, basic security procedures.
Passwords have proven easy for even the most unskilled hacker to discover. A so-called dictionary attack allows computer criminals to use software that tries every word in the dictionary as a password. Yet most companies never warn their employees against using a word that could be in the dictionary as a password.
What I was doing in the cases that got me arrested was I was selling credit reports and I was selling people's lives.
Attention to such simple security measures might have prevented Morty Rosenfeld from committing his computer crimes. He used his hacking skills to intrude into the computers of credit agencies like TRW and steal confidential credit reports. He then sold them to organized crime groups who would use the information to obtain fake credit cards.
You can make a very lucrative living hacking. And you can hack just about everything if you know how. You can make a lot of money selling intelligence on whatever, credit reports, could be school records. There's a need out there for just about every single type of information.
Perhaps the best advice on protecting companies against computer criminals comes from a former hacker.
Any computer can be broken into if there are enough resources behind the attempt. Any computer. A computer is secure when the resources that it would take in terms of time and money exceeds the value of whatever information or capabilities can be bestowed by that computer. That's Poulsen's law. Eventually, any computer where it's run by somebody who cares about keeping people out will obey Poulsen's law.
There was a time when thieves, spies, and terrorists had to get past armed guards and physical security systems to get what they were after. But American businesses and government agencies are now vulnerable in a new way, as the criminals of yesteryear are replaced by the hackers of today and tomorrow. I'm Gina Smith for Nightline.
When we come back, a co-chair of the presidential committee that was set up to help protect us from these threats.
Now you can save $100 on professional installation and get $50 of programming certificates. So what are you waiting for? Go to your retailer today.
The Toyota Camry has been called the best car built in America, and Consumers Digest has selected it as a best buy. So it's little wonder that the Camry has quickly become America's favorite car. And to celebrate, now you can get special leases and low APR financing on Toyota Camry, but only until January 5th. There can be only one favorite car, and there's only one place to get it. So visit your Toyota dealer today.
Tonight, MPI, Kenneth Cole, Ann Coulter, Andrew Dice Clay, and George Hamilton take over my show.
Stay out of this when I'm talking to somebody.
Politically Incorrect with Bill Maher, coming up on ABC Late Night.
Hi, car truck buyers. Hope you have a great day. I'm Dan Walters here at Rivergate Toyota in Madison, the easiest place in Middle Tennessee to buy a car truck. You know why that is? Low payments and easy credit. In fact, come in right now. You take home a roomy 98 Tacoma extra cab like this and pay just $119 a month. Or grab one of the all-new 98 Corollas. Pay just $149 a month, folks. Plus, our credit team says if you got a job and a down payment, we can approve your credit. If you got a job and a down payment, we can approve your credit. Rivergate Toyota, bigger selection, better prices every day.
Were you there?
Ernie, talk to me. Talk to me, Ernie.
Did you see how it began? Did you feel the drama?
You're a drunk.
Please help me. Did you witness the courage, the emotion, the excitement?
Freeze! Please, freeze! Where was God when my boy got killed?
This fall, relive the experience of a true blue original.
Just give yourself up.
NYPD Blue. See how it all began. The original series, the original Blue.
NYPD Blue, Saturday and Sunday nights at 10:35 on Channel 2.
Hi, this is Melissa Manchester. You and I can be Santa to children across America thanks to Dillard's and to this station. All you have to do is purchase the exclusive double-pack collection of Christmas music, now offered on CD and cassette at Dillard's. I'm featured along with many of your favorite artists performing traditional Christmas music, including a special children's collection. All profits go to the Ronald McDonald House, a home away from home for families of seriously ill children. Be Santa this Christmas and help a child.
Joining us from our Phoenix affiliate, KNXV, Jamie Gorelick was the Deputy Attorney General until earlier this year. She is now a co-chair of a presidential committee advising on computer security. Ms. Gorelick, you listened to our report. Is that about right? How bad is it?
I think you have a pretty good picture of it from your report.
Well, give me a sense of what that means. Do you mean to say, because it's a rather alarming report, that we have problems with our military security as well as our entire infrastructure? Somebody can hack into all of that?
We rest as a nation on a bed of computers that are privately owned and very unevenly protected. And even the government's computers, where there's been a real effort to make them more immune from attack, are vulnerable. And so it doesn't take much imagination to see what kind of threat there could be in the future to our national security.
Now, you say in the future. Right now, I gather you don't feel that it's a critical problem, but it might be some years down the road?
My own assessment, Forrest, is that we have a couple of years before there is a really serious threat. We have seen indications in criminal activity, in the plans of foreign nations, in the plans of terrorist groups that lead us to believe that we should be about the process of hardening our computers against attack.
Well, you say a couple of years. Do you mean 2, 3, 4 years?
It's impossible to predict with any degree of certainty.
What can we do?
Well, there are a number of things we can do. I mean, the effort that has been started already is one to build a partnership between the government and the private sector to work together to know when we're being attacked, to share information, to ensure that we have the very best technology, to do the right research, and eventually to be in a position to respond to an attack with the best efforts we can.
Maybe I'm just a cynic, but I've been talking to a lot of people who work in the area of computer security for corporations, and they say a couple of things. One, that the corporations don't really want to spend all the money that's necessary for security. Two, the security experts are few and far between, and they are rapidly being outstripped by hackers who are moving ahead. Now, is that not real?
Well, my view is that every company, my own, all of the other companies that are represented on the advisory committee, and all of the sectors that they represent have reasons of their own, business reasons, to ensure their customers that their computers are secure. So I think there's plenty of motivation. There is a dearth of technology. We need a major research and development effort to make sure that we have the very best technology to help fight against these attacks.
No, I would say that maybe if we really got it, there would be the motivation, but we're all a little bit lazy, and we all tend to kind of ignore these things unless they stick right up there and hit us in the face. And the truth is, we haven't got a clue how many computers are being hacked into because we don't really know about the ones that are successful.
Well, let me say two things. One is, I think reports like this one are very, very, very helpful. We have to have a national dialogue about this. I would hate to have this be another situation in which we are not galvanized into action until something really serious happens. We have an opportunity now to try to get ahead of the curve, to try to build our defenses before there is an attack. So I think that there are things that we can do. And that brings me to my second point. We are a very creative country, and we have the resources and the wherewithal, if we want to put our minds to it, to protecting this important national resource.
Well, you know, I do tend to read, and I read that at least of the ones that were discovered, some 40 to 60% of them, they think maybe, were actually into corporations that had firewalls, that had computer security systems put into place, and the hackers still managed to get past them.
Well, I think one of your guests explained that most people don't pay attention to simple security measures. And one of the most important things we can all do is build awareness of the importance of those security measures. Many people, when they turn on their computer and they see a problem, instead of reporting the problem, instead of doing something about the problem, they just turn off the computer and turn it back on again, thinking that there must be some small problem having nothing to do with an incursion. We have to build awareness that maybe somebody is trying to get into our computers. We have to build awareness that it's important to keep our passwords secret. Those are very basic things that could make an enormous difference.
I may be naive, but I confess that I was stunned when I read that the Pentagon has been penetrated more than 100,000 times in a single year, that military secrets just prior to the Gulf War were gotten into, including troop movements, which were critical. Is the Pentagon that porous?
Well, you have to realize that 90% of the Pentagon's communications take place over commercial networks. and they are exceedingly vulnerable. What's more, you get the same problem in the military that you have in the private sector, of people not thinking that maybe they've been compromised and that their systems have been intruded upon. And when that happens, you don't get the reports, and so you don't know that you're under attack until some serious, serious damage has been done. So the government needs to start cleaning up its own act and being the leader in this area. And I think when the private sector sees the lessons that can be drawn from that, I think it too will come along.
I suppose we should rely on the private sector to take care of itself. But as for our infrastructure, our power lines, our communications lines, our police and fire communications, as well as government communications, what does it take?
Well, all of the private sector institutions that control our critical infrastructure, our banking institutions, our electrical systems, our power grids, our telecommunication systems, our transportation systems, they all need to be hardened against attack. And they need to be in a partnership among the companies within each industry and with government to share knowledge, to get good ideas about research and development, and to work together to fight against this threat.
Jamie Gorelick, co-chair of a presidential committee on computer security. Thanks very much for talking to us tonight.
My pleasure.
And I will be back in just a moment.
2 season tickets to the opera, $950. Velvet wrap, $170. Opera glasses, $82. 9 guaranteed dates with your husband, priceless. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's Platinum MasterCard, with a high spending limit for the things that matter.
The AT&T One Rate plan has made long-distance prices simple. Whoa. Calls from home, a one low rate to anybody in America, anytime.
What about those 10-3-2-1 ads that say I could save big over AT&T?
Most calls would cost less with AT&T One Rate.
Cost less?
Right.
I feel so used.
Hey, don't beat yourself up.
What about the big savings with 10-3-2-1?
Forget it if your calls aren't over 20 minutes.
20 minutes?
He's taking it really bad.
No games. The AT&T One Rate plan.
Now you can save $100 on professional installation and get $50 of programming certificates. So what are you waiting for? Go to your retailer today.
How was that?
That was pretty good. Let's try it again, just to make sure you got it right.
What's going on?
I just thought that we should rehearse for her role on Spin City this week.
He wants us to be convincing as lovers.
You don't play Stuart's lover, you play the mayor's daughter. Oh, wow. That must be a typo in my script. Or two.
Alyssa Milano on Spin City, ABC, Wednesday.
Hi, I'm Steve Flatt, the minister at the Madison Church of Christ. And I want to invite you to join me for the Amazing Grace Bible class every Sunday morning at 7:30 right here on Channel 2. For over 25 years, the Madison Church of Christ has sponsored the Amazing Grace class. And I try to bring you lessons about real life issues and introduce you to the real God who sees us through those issues. If you're not a regular viewer of Amazing Grace, just watch one time, and I think you will be. I'll see you this Sunday morning at 7:30 for Amazing Grace.
One program note tomorrow on Good Morning America, why the campaign finance issue won't go away. But that's our report for tonight. I'm Forrest Sawyer in Washington. For all of us here at ABC News, good night.
If you'd like a transcript or video cassette of this or any other edition of Nightline, please dial 1-800-CALL-ABC. Nightline is always on with abcnews.com, on the web or AOL.
Nightline has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source. ABC News, now always on.
Here's the reason NYPD Blue wins so many Emmys.
You want to kill me, Mr. Egan? You got murder in you?
No, help me! Oh, God!
Their biggest case ever.
He is gonna burn in hell for this.
Becomes a 90-minute NYPD Blue event. ABC Tuesday, 9:30, 8:30 Central. Viewer discretion advised.
Thanks, Middle Tennessee. News 2's Food to Families was a huge success, thanks to your generosity. If you contributed to any of the Food to Families campaigns, like the Postal Workers Drive, Football Challenge, Scouting for Food, or the Reverse Parade, food donations and participation were up, and it's not too late to help. You can take part in the Roundup for Hunger now through January. Visit your Kroger store, choose your donations. The amount will be added to your bill, benefiting the Second Harvest Food Bank. Thanks for your part in Food to Families and helping others in our community.
When your office is on the road, getting to your clients safely and